Hello and welcome to my channel. If you enjoy this video, hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like it, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified whenever I post a new video, hit the bell icon. I see you're just sitting there. You haven't went to like the video or subscribe yet. Do it. Do it right now. It doesn't matter if you haven't seen the rest of the video. Hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you. You better have done it, or I'm coming for you. Hello, and welcome to What If Deku Was Darkseid, Part 1. So, we are going to start at Deku's birth. So, when Deku was born, everyone in the room would be in shock, not only at the size of Deku, weighing in at about 15 pounds when he was born, but also how ugly Deku was, being born with charcoal skin and a rock-like physique. Hisashi would immediately be appalled by Deku. He would want to kill Deku, but he wouldn't. There was too many people around. Meanwhile, Inko, she wouldn't be appalled. She wouldn't be mad or upset about Deku's look. She would just take it as a blessing, knowing that her baby boy did indeed have a quirk, even if it might set him back from getting a girlfriend. But she would be proud of her son. And after Deku's birth, Hisashi would leave, without giving a text message, without divorce papers, without even $1 to Inko's name. He would up and leave. And without Hisashi, this would make life incredibly difficult for Inko. Being a single parent and raising a 15-pound, not even 1 month old, would be pretty difficult. Not to mention, she doesn't just have to feed Deku, but she also has to feed herself, and she has to pay the bills, and this would be incredibly stressful on her. But she would never show that to Deku, even as he got older. She would never show that to Deku. Meanwhile, as Deku got older, he would get bullied for how he looked, especially by Bakugo, who thought of him as disgusting and a devil. But Deku would have been raised around these insults, so he would think that they were compliments, and that's what Inko would tell him. To avoid Deku's feelings from getting hurt, she would tell him that. But everything would change on Deku's 4th birthday. Inko would take him to get his quirk evaluated. Let's see how that event would turn out, shall we? The quirk doctor would take Deku into the back to get his quirk evaluated. Inko would be sitting there holding Deku's toy when all of a sudden she would hear blood-curdling screams and cries for help. She would go to open the door when all of a sudden the quirk doctor would burst out, when all of a sudden a pair of lasers would go straight through the quirk doctor's back. He would fall to his knees. In agony, he would scream at her for help as Deku would float over the Cork Doctor and would grab him by the hair and would lift him into the air. As he would slam him into the floor and slam him into the floor, when all of a sudden Deku would slam the guy into the floor so hard they would go straight through it onto the onto the floor right below them. Inko would scream as Deku would float back up to her, as he would say, "They tried to hurt me. The guy, he grabbed a little hammer and he tried to hit my knee. And then out of nowhere, things started happening." As he would look at his hands that were covered in blood. Inko would quickly gesture for Deku to hover over to her, as Deku would do that, and he would hug her. Inko would be horrified as she would look over into the Quirk evaluation room to see that nobody was in there. Not even a pile of clothes. The only body that would be left from that event would be the Quirk Doctor, whose body had been reduced to barely recognizable due to Deku's pummeling. Inko would quickly sneak Deku out of the building as sirens could be heard and screams. Inko would later be watching the TV to see the news was talking about the event, how a doctor was brutally murdered, and his assisting team was nowhere to be found. Inko would begin sobbing, knowing that her son had a quirk that he could not control, one in which could be as strong as All Might's. Now, obviously, Deku is around 4 years old, so this is technically before, well, at least in my continuity, it's before All Might has his battle with One For All. So, a few days of staying... Oh, no, 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 no. 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 No, no. But like I was saying, after a few days of staying silent and under the radar, Inko would decide to take Deku to the park. A while Deku was sitting there playing with his favorite All Might action figure, Inko would get a call, and it would be from her boss. She would have a very urgent meeting that she had to attend to, but she knew that Deku would be really upset if he couldn't finish playing. So Inko would ask she would ask Kachan's mom, who happened to be there with Kachan, if she could watch him. Of course, she would agree. Inko was her best friend, and it's a simple task. Deku would be playing when all of a sudden Kachan and his gang would walk up to Deku. Deku would look up to them and would say, "Hey, Kachan, you never really come over to me. What is it? Do you want to play? I have an extra All Might action figure if you want to join me." No one ever really wants to join me. Kachan would gag as he would say, "Play with you? Ew, no." As he would grab the second All Might action figure and would slam it against the slide, breaking it in half. A tear would roll down Deku's face as he would ask, Why would you do that, Kachan?" As Bakugo would say, "You're nothing, Deku. You're just ugly. Get out of here. No one wants to see your ugly face." As Deku would stand his ground, and he would say, "No, I'm playing." As Bakugo would let off an explosion in Deku's face, that would knock Deku back. As he would grab Deku's favorite action figure, Deku would notice this and he would scream, "No!" as Bakugo would blow it into ash. Deku would finally realize that his mom had lied to him. All these words that people have said, they weren't nice. They were trying to upset him. They were being rude to him. And now he's finally realized what his power was made for. As Deku would unleash his Omega Beams straight into Bakugo's eyes, Bakugo would scream in agonizing pain as the lasers would go straight through Bakugo's skull. Bakugo would fall onto his knees, his eyes bleeding, as he would fall over, dead. Deku would stand up and would continue blasting Bakugo's body until eventually Bakugo's body would evaporate. That's when Deku would turn over to a kid with wings. The kid would try and run, but within not even a second, Deku would appear in his face and would punch him straight into the stratosphere. The other kids would try and run, but that's when Deku would unleash his Omega Beams once more, and almost as if they were tracking them, they would follow the kids. The kids would be screaming as they would be crying and screaming for help, when all of a sudden the Omega Beam would hit one of them, going straight through their chest as they would disappear into thin air. The Omega Beams would continue tracing the other one until eventually they would slam straight through the child's stomach and out the other end. That child, too, would disappear into nothingness. Mitsuki would hear all of the commotion and would get up and walk over to where the kids last were. She would get there right on time to see Deku kill the last kid. Mitsuki would scream and ask Deku, what has he done? As Deku would look over to her, as he would say, I delivered justice. That's all it ever will be. As Mitsuki would scream out, you're a monster! As she would try and run, but Deku would already be in front of her. As he would grab her by the neck and would shoot up into the sky. Once Deku had reached a few thousand feet in the air, Deku would say, how would you rather go? Plummeting to the ground or being strangled to death? As Mitsuki would try and hit her way out of Deku's hands, as he would say, death by falling, good choice. As he would let go of Mitsuki's neck, she would scream Bloody Mary as she would begin plummeting towards the earth. When she would hit the ground, her guts would go spilling out all over the playground. The nearby kids who were also there would scream and run off as their parents would call 911. Deku would hover over her mutilated body, which had been flattened like a pancake, her intestines gouging out of her stomach, her eyes bulging as if pushed out of their sockets, her brain matter leaking out, blood spilled out everywhere. Deku would chuckle. He would hear police sirens as he would shoot off his Omega Beams. His Omega Beams would be targeting the police cars, as an explosion could be heard at the playground. Deku had just destroyed the police car. That's when Endeavor would arrive, as he would say, You're going to pay for what you've done, villain. As he would blast off towards Deku. Deku would dodge each of Endeavor's attacks as he would counter with his own, punching Endeavor straight through a building. As Deku would launch off towards Endeavor, pummeling Endeavor with hundreds of punches. Endeavor would cough up blood as Deku would grab Endeavor by the face and would slam the back of his head into the same rubble he had just been thrown into. As Deku would repeat again and again and again and again and again and again until eventually Endeavor's brain could be seen from the back of his head. Endeavor would try and let off one last attack, but Deku would grab Endeavor's hand and would break it. And then he would break his arm. And then he would break his leg. Then his other arm. Then his other leg. Then Deku would step over the mutilated Endeavor and would fire his Omega Beams straight through Endeavor's eyes. All Might would finally arrive to witness this action. All Might would scream, "What have you done?" as he would launch to deliver a Detroit Smash, but Deku would dodge and would grab All Might's arm and break it. All Might would scream out in pain as Deku would uppercut All Might, creating a sonic boom that could be heard for miles, shattering all of All Might's teeth on impact. As Deku would then punch All Might directly in the face, launching him through the playset, hitting a kid. The kid would instantly be torn apart by the velocity and force in which she was hit, splitting her in half. All Might would be knocked out, but after a few seconds he would wake up and would see what had just happened. The girl's eyes staring directly into his. All Might would stand up, looking at the blood on his hands. He would begin to have a panic attack as he would scream as Deku would appear behind him and would snap All Might's neck. All Might would drop to the ground, dead. Snipe would also end up showing up. He would fire several rounds in Deku's direction, but Deku would dodge each one and would counter with his Omega Beams, going straight through Snipe's gun and into his neck. Snipe would begin drowning in his own blood as Deku would hover over to him and would grab his neck and would begin squeezing. Snipe couldn't breathe due to his mask, but he would be trying, only inhaling more and more blood until eventually Deku would snap Snipe's neck. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of What If Deku Was Darkseid, Part 1. Hey guys, I made a Patreon. I made this Patreon so that those of you who really do enjoy my content and want to help support me in any way you can are able to do that. And I've made a tier for every type of person and what their money goals are. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, yet you still want to help me, I have a $3 tier, which allows you to get access to Patreon-only live streams, along with early access to my videos. I made an official Patreon for $6 for those of you who have a little bit of a higher budget and want a little bit more from what I'm offering. It has access to Patreon-only updates a chat community, which allows you to talk to other Patreons, Patreon-only live streams, early access to my videos, and your name will be displayed at the end of my videos. What ifs and gaming videos. All of my videos will have your name at the end. And then an all-access Patreon, these people have a higher budget, and they love my videos, and they want to help out as much as they can. This gives them access to early access, Patreon-only updates, chat community, live streams. Your name will be displayed at the end of videos, and you guys get to vote on videos. That is for the all-access Patreon. And then for the VIP Patreon, which is the most expensive, but it has the most, this one gives you access to live streams, Patreon-only updates, chat community, early access, ad-free content, and your name will be displayed at the end of videos. And you also will get access to my merch. You will get exclusive stickers, an exclusive mini print, an exclusive mug, and an exclusive t-shirt. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of it right now, but it should show you when you click on that. And now all of my videos will have the link to this Patreon on them, including this one. So go into the link in the description, click on that link, and it will bring you to this page where you can choose any tier you want if you want to help me. Now, obviously, none of you guys have to do this. I'm not trying to seem desperate. You don't have to. This is just a way that you guys can support me if you guys want. Now, I want you guys to have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Or tomorrow, most likely. A while Inko had left to do business stuff, relying on the other parents to watch him for a little bit. Deku would be playing with his toys when Bakugo and his gang would walk up to Deku. Deku would say in his deep voice, "What do you want? Human. I will kill you all the moment you step foot near me." Bakugo would attempt to get near him. Bzzz! There goes Bakugo. Oh no, Bakugo is dead.